Hi all, this is Allmighty and welcome to this video. So today I bring you something a little bit different, something more modern, let's say. Probably most of you know that at the moment the Biel Chess Open or the Biel Chess Festival is being played, and there we have a very nice tournament played by 6 players. In the main event, of course, there is also another tournament being played by lots of other chess players, but I'm going to be focusing on the Biel Chess Open. Of course, I'm not going to cover it since I'm going to be busy covering some other stuff, but for now, let me just show you a couple of games that I've been finding interesting up until now. So 3 rounds have passed, and in round 1 we have a game between Mamedyarov who most of you know, and Nico Georgiadis. Nico Georgiadis is actually a so-called a local hero there. He is actually a player who plays for Switzerland, but actually has some Greek origins. And he is actually a very good player. He is a grandmaster, but comparing to other players, he is definitely not one of the favorites to actually win the tournament. Of the players actually playing, we have Magnus Carlsen, the current world champion. We have Peter Svidler, also a nice touch to see him, not just just commenting on tournaments, but also playing. We have, as we see, Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, we have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, we have Navara, and in the end we have, as I've said, the local hero Nico Georgiadis. And there is nothing much more to say. Most of the other players are definitely very close to 2800 rating points, or even over. Like here, Mamedyarov has over 2800 rating points, and on the other hand we have Nico, who is definitely going to be the one looking for to steal at least a couple of points from other players. Has 2530 rating points. But I'm not saying that Nico is a bad player or anything. He is actually a very good grandmaster. But even on this level, at the grandmaster level, you can definitely see the difference between a 2800 player and a 2500 player. So let's just see what happened in round 1 in their game. Mamedyarov starts with c4, and we have knight to f6. So pretty standard stuff. Knight to f3. e6, knight to c3, d5, and we have e3, and after this a6. So a6, and this isn't anything I would say that is usually played. So usually you would like to see bishop to e7, you would see knight from b to d7, you would see c6, you would see c5. For example, me personally, I would play c5 because I enjoy that kind of a setup, but a6 isn't something that you would see on a 4th move, and probably Georgiadis wanted to go for this variation to a little bit surprise here Mamedyarov. But you aren't a player of a 2800 club if you are not very well versed in your openings. So here Mamedyarov continues with b3, his standard idea, putting the bishop on b2 and then controlling this very nice diagonal. We have c5 now, and as I said, this is something that I usually play, so I will also be going to be able to give you some insights that I usually encounter while playing these kinds of systems. Bishop to b2, and now exchanges, so first knight to c6, sorry, and then exchanges in the center, so exchanging the pawns on d5, and this is done for a very good reason, to relieve the tension, and then you can continue with the development. Rook to c1, and rook to c1 is played with an idea of actually attacking on the c file. As we can see here, a knight can maybe go to a4 at some point, and probably will in the rest of the game, but I want to hit on one other point currently. This kind of a system is a bit strange. So for white, he usually plays it because he knows what to expect, but for black, and usually from my perspective, it is kind of strange because you are with black pieces, but you would more commonly see white having, for example, a pawn on d4 and c4, develop knights, maybe put some a3 or h3 in it, or even on e4 and d4. But if you get what I mean, in the end, white is the one who usually occupies the space in the center. White is the one who usually dictates the game, but here white is the one who dictates the game because he has that one extra tempo being the first on the move, and on the other hand, black is the one who actually has the has that advantage in the center, so the positional advantage, and now he needs to be very careful how he uses it. He of course starts here with bishop to g4, always a nice move, pinning the knight. Mamedyarov plays h3 and bishop to h5. Now he knows what black wants to do. But this allows a very nice move, as I previously mentioned, a knight to a4, and you will see for what reason. First, you have to know that this pawn is attacked twice, you need to defend it. Knight to e4 or knight to d7. So knight to d7 was played in the game, bishop to e2 and now b5. Knight to c3, now attacking this pawn, and back knight to f6. And I wanted to stop here for a moment for you to maybe appreciate this idea of Mamedyarov here, what he actually did. So as you can see, this is actually the same position like from 2 moves ago, but for example that white has played bishop to e2 and black has played b5. But b5 isn't actually something you want to play immediately. If you haven't prepared it. And here you could sense in some of the variations that b5 actually isn't prepared. One thing definitely is that, okay, first this knight is undefended and also the king is still in the center. So one thing that you have to develop immediately and try to put your king in definitely kingside castle. But black here has pushed his pawns already this much, and this could mean nothing but trouble. And I gotta give props to Mamedyarov for actually going with this idea. We have castles by him, and now bishop to e7, preparing to go castle. But now Mamedyarov takes opportunity of the situation and plays a4 immediately, going for this pawn. And everything would be great if only now bishop b4 would have been played. And then knight to b1, preparing with d4, knight from b to d2, and this is pretty much it. You go about your game. But here we see bishop to f3, bishop to f3, and now rook to b8. So not going for b4, but actually preparing and solidifying on the queen side. And now we have pawn captures on b5, pawn captures on b5, and now knight goes to e2, avoids the b4 with tempo, and goes for the open attack on the c file, maybe even preparing d4 now. As you can see, d4 hasn't been pushed by white the whole time, and Mamedyarov keeps this option always available. d4 wasn't possible for black for many reasons, also in this situation because quite simply now the knight will fall, but also in other situations because quite simply white would have a better game. Here what you have to do, you have to play queen to d6, because if you go for example castles now, bishop to f6, bishop to f6, rook to c5, you lose a pawn. Either that or you play g to f6, and then after knight to f4 you have a ruined pawn structure at the king side, and also attack is coming soon. So here we have queen to d6 and now knight to f4, adding another attacker to this pawn, so you have to play knight to b4 to defend it. Bishop to a3, as you can see, Mamedyarov is just pushing and pushing, creating threats just all over the board. Now was actually a good moment to just say, okay, I screwed up probably here, maybe pushing b5 too soon or something, and go kingside castle and put the king to safety. And just allow bishop captures, pawn captures, and then after queen to e2 push d4, maybe try something with the rooks. And in the end, white here seems like the side which has a pawn up, because black has these double pawns on the b file. But it isn't all lost, so you can still play this game. But here we saw knight to a6 instead of castles, and this allowed quite simply d4 immediately. This pawn is under too much pressure, so you have to play b4, bishop to b2, and only now castle. But this allows this nice tactic, bishop to d5. Knight captures on d5, and now pawn captures on c5 with tempo, attacking the queen. So knight has to capture on c5, and white didn't lose a piece here, he just simply captures on d5. And in this situation you have a very strong knight in the center attacking this bishop, and you have this very strong bishop on this diagonal, just helping in the attack. Rook from f to d8, and as I said, the attack can start. Queen to g4 by Mamedyarov, and here what is, quite simply white is in a much better position. At the moment, yeah, threatening queen to g7 checkmate. Two ways how you can stop this. Knight to e6, but this runs into rook from f to d1, and knight to f6 is a big threat, giving a check. And also not just that, you can give some discoveries on some other squares. In the end, the queen cannot really go away because she has to defend this e7 bishop, so in the end you would have to do something like this. Sacrifice the queen, but now you're down in the exchange, and white will have no problem winning this game. So here bishop to f8 was played, and now knight to f6. You cannot capture with the pawn. If you capture with the queen, you lose it, so king to h8. Queen to f5 now, threatening on h7 checkmate, and now you have to capture. Now you have to capture on f6 or play g6. If you capture like this, then bishop to f6, bishop to g7, if you play this, then this is checkmate. But if you recover, then bishop to d8, rook captures on d8, queen captures on c5, queen captures and rook captures. In the end, you're up the exchange. So, okay, this was one possible route. We saw g6 instead, but now knight to e4 was played, and it was in this position that young Nico, the Swiss player, resigned the game. And, okay, why did he resign? Quite simply, after knight to e4, your king is in check. You can play bishop to g7. And if you do, bishop captures, king captures, knight captures on d6, pawn captures, knight to f5, knight to f5, king to g6, rook to c5, you're up a knight. This is a forced variation. If you don't play bishop to g7, if you go king to g8 or f6, it is pretty much the same idea. You capture with the queen on c5. If queen captures, then quite simply, once again, you have just earned a piece. After this, the whole bishop, and a very strong bishop at that. But if you don't capture, if you, for example, move the queen away and now the bishop is attacking the queen, you have this knight to f6. And if you don't capture the knight, then the queen can simply move. But if you capture it, then bishop captures, bishop captures, bishop captures, rook captures, rook captures, and in the end you're up a whole rook. So whatever you do, you're losing the exchange, or you're losing a piece. So in the end, Nico decided to resign the game. I wouldn't say I have been known, but on this channel, especially during the candidates tournament, I was really criticizing Mamedyarov and his style of play. So it was only fair from me to actually show a very nice game from Mamedyarov from this tournament. And if he will have some other nice games, I will definitely show them as well. So props to Mamedyarov, and of course, good luck to Nico playing against a very strong opponents in this very strong tournament. That being said, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.